Hey guys, uh, I'm gonna try to start to do this sort of vlog thingy where I just kind of sit in front of the camera and talk about what comes to my mind that's book related. I wanted to do this instead of doing like normal TBR or discussion videos, um, just because um, I don't want to obligate myself to always do like haul videos or TBR videos just because if I know me, I know that like I don't like kind of too much of a rigid system because it starts to make me really anxious. So these vlogs might turn into TBRs or hauls or even maybe book reviews, sort of mini book reviews. But I'm just gonna see where this goes, and if it turns into anything or not. And please excuse if you hear loud cat noises. Bessie is being quite noisy today, and I'm not sure why. Probably because I just got home from Texas yesterday. um, yeah. Anyway, I thought I would talk about some of the book I'm currently reading a little bit, and maybe some of the books that I am going to read for the rest of the summer. Um, so, first off, the book I'm currently reading is something that I just picked up because it was in the used bookstore here in the town I live in. I live in a town in Illinois, west central Illinois, like 3 hours south of Chicago. And there's this nice little used bookstore there, which is kind of surprising for a you know relatively small town in Illinois. Um, it's it's probably the biggest of the small towns in Illinois, but still. Um, so I just saw this book there. It is A History of Alexander the Great by Quintus Curtius Rufus. Or sorry, The History of Alexander, not A History of Alexander the Great. Sorry. Anyway, by Quintus Curtius Rufus. And by the way, I really want to get a hamster or one hamster and name him Quintus Curtius Rufus, or three hamsters and name one Quintus, one Curtius, and one Rufus or something, because that's a great name. But so this is, I mean, the title's pretty self-explanatory. It's basically a history. Oh, okay, the cat is doing disturbing things. Okay, why don't I come sit on my lap? This is the cat, everyone. This is Bessie. It's what it says it is. It's a history, sort of a history of Alexander's life, but more a history of his campaigns. But also sort of a character portrait of him as Quintus Curtius Rufus sees him, at least. And with histories like this, as with people like Tacitus and Livy and Herodotus, you don't exactly go to them to learn history, because they weren't exactly the most rigorous historians, but you go to them for the entertainment value and sort of for the literary qualities that some of them have, I suppose, some of the character analysis, and I'm definitely finding that here so far. I'm 100 pages in, and I'm enjoying it. With things like this, it's a Penguin Classics edition. So what's nice about this is that there are notes, end notes, which kind of tell you when Rufus is wrong. So it's nice to have that, but you could also just kind of enjoy it as a piece of entertaining, I don't know, creative nonfiction, I suppose you could call it. But anyway, I'm liking it so far. I've always thought Alexander the Great was pretty interesting. There's that Oliver Stone movie from like 2004, which I actually really liked. Even though, I mean, I see why people think it's a bad movie and why a lot of people won't like it, but I always kind of liked it, and that's kind of what got me into Alexander the Great. So it's good to finally be kind of reading a book about him now. But yeah, I'll probably be doing a full book review of that. So that will be forthcoming in the next few weeks. So the books I have lined up, some books lined up for after that, which I think will probably take up the rest of my summer, because I have some vacation-y things coming up, which will make it hard for me to be reading as much as I have been. And I don't know what order I'll read them in, but I'll just kind of talk about them in whatever order I feel like at the moment. So the first I have here is Bill Bryson's A Short History of Nearly Everything. This is pretty famous. It's nice and thick, over 500 pages. I actually started listening to the audiobook of this years and years ago with my mom, actually, in the car. My mom and I listened to audiobook. Whoop, okay. So my mom and I would listen to audiobooks in the car together on our way to the rink. I was a figure skater. I used to figure skate a lot, and so we would be going to the rink several times a week, and we would listen to audiobooks on the way there. So we started listening to this, and for some reason never finished it. But I remember really liking it back when I was like 15. So if I liked it when I was 15, I'll probably really love it now, because when I was 15, I was not particularly interested in reading. So if a book could capture me then, it'll probably really do a good job capturing me now. So I'm excited to read that. So yeah, it's a history of the universe, from the creation of the universe to when humans come around, and it's sort of like big history, the sort of new field that's becoming popular. I watched the Crash Courses series on big history, and I really liked it. I don't know. I've always sort of been interested in religion and kind of philosophical questions about the meaning of life, and I feel like big history is sort of a funny, like, not scientific way of approaching that, but like it's a sciencey field that kind of is a way of examining those questions, because it deals with these really broad themes in the history of the world and like the creation of the world and things like that. So I think that'll be really interesting. Yeah. And the next book I have, oh shoot, I don't have the dust jacket on it, but anyway, the cover won't tell you much because I took the dust jacket off. But this is Sherman Alexie's memoir, You Don't Have to Say You Love Me. I hope that's not upside down. You Don't Have to Say You Love Me. So this is his memoir of growing up on a Spokane reservation, and particularly I think it's supposed to be about his relationship with his mother, which it sounds like was... I listened to an NPR interview with him, and it sounds like his relationship with his mother was kind of complicated, to say it shortly, or ambivalent, maybe you could say. She was... Well, I don't know enough yet, but sounds like she may have been an alcoholic, that he may have really kind of disliked her for years. But I think it's kind of a mixture of essays and poetry too, which is really kind of cool. And I'm excited to read more poetry. I haven't been reading. Okay. I haven't been reading much poetry this summer, which makes me sad. The only poetry I really read this summer is the other day I pulled out my volume of T.S. Eliot and read a few poems there, but I've read most of that copy of T.S. Eliot's book that I have, so it wasn't much that was mind-boggling, but anyway, that'll be nice. And the last ones I have are, come to think of it, like, these books are, like, all so, like, completely different from each other. It's like we have random Roman historian, we have big history, and then we have, memoir / poetry. So this last one will be yet another random shift into Greek mythology. So this is Robert Graves, 2 volumes of just, major Greek myths. There's his actual narration of the myths, and his analysis and commentary on the myths. Which I feel like the analysis and commentary might end up being even more interesting than the actual myths. I don't know yet, but I've had these 2 volumes for a while, and just sort of always kept them on my shelf, kind of saying, well, someday I'll read them, or maybe I can just keep them for like reference if I want to. But what I've noticed is that I haven't been referencing them at all. Sorry, there's a bug. At all, so I should just read them, and I want to read them. I've been getting into Greek and Roman classics. I mean, that's what this is a part of too. I think probably part of what compelled me to pick this up, Quintus Curtius Rufus, and I've been reading some Greek plays too. I actually finished reading the all of the surviving plays of Sophocles and Aeschylus this summer, which were kind of long-standing goals of mine. And I also want to read Euripides. I haven't read any Euripides. I also want to reread Lysistrata by Aristophanes, and then there's a cat behind there. Reread Lysistrata by Aristophanes, and then read the rest of the surviving plays by Aristophanes at some point, hopefully by the end of the year. But I don't think I'll be doing individual reviews of Greek plays. I think I'll sort of maybe do just a video about Greek drama, or one about Greek tragedy, one about comedy. I'm not sure, but I've been enjoying that too, so I definitely want to do some kind of a video on that. So yeah, it occurs to me that on my way to and from Texas, I listened to the audiobook of Trevor Noah's memoir, Born a Crime. But I think I'll talk about that tomorrow, because this video's already gone on for over 10 minutes. So, anyway, thank you for watching, if anyone's watching this, and have a good night. Bye!